You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. It's the first Friday of December. Yes, you heard that right. The last month of the year is here. And as the busyness of the holiday season approaches, so too does the opportunity to find some new reading material, be it for you or perhaps someone you know. As always, Chris Hall from McNally Robinson Booksellers has joined me once again, accompanied by Kathleen Friesen, who has some picks for younger readers. Welcome to you both.
Good morning, Simon.
Thank you for having me again. It's great to be here.
Well, great to have you both back. Gift-giving season is nearly upon us, and I thought I'd begin with this question. That's something that I think we're all pondering this time of year. Is the book the ideal gift, Chris?
Yes.
Tell us why. Yeah, tell us why.
I think that my theory is there's a book for everyone. I think some people in my world have been surprised to come in and don't realize they have some books, that there are books for them. So many topics, so many interests. I mean, you can cover so much ground, and some books need to be read, sure, but other books are just inspiring photographs. Yeah, you can find something for everybody.
Kathleen, what about you?
I loved seeing a book-shaped package under the tree. I just love it. It's the best. And there is something for everyone, and so many unexpected choices, I think. I just love the surprise of opening a book on Christmas Day.
Yeah, there's also something so personal about a gift. And the other thing, too, is there are so many varied price points when it comes to books as well. Though I will say I'm also a sucker for a good pair of socks because I know I'm going to use a good pair of socks. But you're not here to talk about socks. You're here to talk about books. So let's begin with something for the younger readers. Kathleen, where do we want to begin this What to Read feature?
Sure. So we're going to do some YA this time. We got a graphic novel called Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. This is a graphic novel rom-com, so we're talking ages 14 to 18. It's by Canadian author-illustrator Faith Erin Hicks, who we love up in the kids department. She's great. So we have Alex. She's our hockey girl. She's a super talented hockey player, but not very confident in her social life. So she's struggling a bit to fit in. She's dealing with a bully on her team, and after a game one night, she lashes out in anger, and she fears for her hockey future if she can't get her anger under control. So that's where she meets Ezra. He is the drama boy. He's cool, calm, and collected as far as she's concerned. He's got a great group of theater friends, and she sees him dealing with his bully and kind of just clapping back, and she's like, that's what I need. So she goes to him for advice, and sparks fly, as they do in these kinds of books. So yeah, it's a very sweet, cute little love story. A little bit of depth to it, as teenagers always have those problems that they're dealing with, so the two are kind of helping each other get through those. And really great artwork. We love Faith Erin Hicks. She does it all. She writes, she illustrates, and really great, sweet story. Great for Heartstopper fans. And
which is a great series, by the way. Heartstopper
and
is wonderful.
There's a new one coming.
Yes, there is.
But yeah, so great pick for those people that just want a rom-com with like really real, down-to-earth characters.
Yeah, it sounds very relatable.
It is.
Right? And I mean, I think that's apparent right from the title, Hockey Girl Loves Drama Boy. And I have to say, just as an aside, you've brought the book with you in studio. Chris, I don't know if you're taking notes, but a physical book, it's been so long since we've had one in the What to Read feature. Kathleen, what else would you like to recommend?
So this beautiful physical book, which
yes, which you're holding up in studio. It's wonderful.
This is one of my favorite books of the season. It's called Skating Wild on an Inland Sea. It's a beautiful picture book. Another Canadian team behind this. We have Jean E. Penzawal, the author, and Todd Stewart is the illustrator. So a classic winter story. We've got two children wake up, cabin in the woods, dark winter morning, and they hear a mysterious song on the air, and they wonder if it's the sound of Lake Superior singing or if it's the cry of a wolf outside. So the day slowly brightens, and they bundle up, and they head out and see what they can see out in the forest. Take their skates with them, of course. So they see animal tracks in the snow. They see birds up in the trees, and they get down to the lake. They strap their skates on and head out, and they hear that song again. I just love the thought of hearing the ice singing to them, and it's just the winter life humming beneath their feet. It's just beautiful.
Well, we Manitobans love getting outdoors, and I imagine more than a few listeners have sort of experienced that, where you hear the crack of the ice, or just even getting on the river trail, right, and skating your way down. There's something so magical about being outdoors, being on the ice, and just kind of experiencing winter in all of its beauty and all of its goodness. And it just looks like a gorgeous book,
it's
too.
It's absolutely stunning. It's mostly shades of blues and turquoise, and as the sun comes up, you get these washes of yellow. It's just like it captures that winter light so perfectly.
Well, a couple of wonderful picks for younger listeners and younger readers. I was struck by one, little sort of tidbit. Faith Erin Hicks, a best-selling New York Times author. And Chris, just before we get to your picks, earlier this week, the New York Times released their 10 best books of 2023, and I noticed that one of your previous picks was on there, The Fraud by Zadie Smith.
Yes.
Once again proving you have your finger on the pulse of all things literary.
That's right, yes. I got one of those, but they also released their top 100, and I'm all over that.
Yeah, you are all over it. Your fingerprints are all over it. So where do we begin this month with your picks?
We are going to start with fiction. It's a collection of short stories, I guess. Well, the first one is a novella and a couple of shorter stories. It's by Claire Keegan, and it's called So Late in the Day, Stories of Women and Men. And Keegan is a master of spare writing. Her novels like Small Things Like These and Foster, they're barely over 125 pages. But her short stories like Antarctica and this new one are equally spare. But don't let the low word count fool you. These stories are told without an excess word. Hilary Mantel, I think, says it best. Every word is the right word in the right place, and the effect is resonant and deeply moving. And I couldn't agree more. It's really a unique reading experience. I was having trouble coming up with a comparison that's really right. And the main story in this new one is a relationship between a young man and woman, and I just felt like I could see the spaces between them, and I just understood that so much about the silences. So it's a book where what's not said is just as important as what is said, and it's the kind of writing that it benefits from multiple readings, and it's so short that you can just turn it over and start again, and you'll see so much more and understand so much more. It's powerful writing.
There's such an art to, there's such an art to writing, but short story writing in particular, there is something to be said about, like you say, what is left out, right?
Absolutely.
There's so much in that.
And art is the word that comes to mind with this. Like it does once in a while in a lot of the books I read. This one, it just is the art of writing.
So where do we want to go next?
Well, we're going to go to music.
Oh, yeah? Maybe something some people listening might be
absolutely
interested in.
Pandering again. Yeah. It's a book called Listen, on Music, Sound, and Us, and it's by an author named Michel Faber. And Faber's known as a novelist. He a big book years ago called The Crimson Petal and the White, and another one called Under the Skin. But he's also a lifelong music fan and a very thoughtful music listener. And this is his book on his love of music. It's not a book about analyzing musicians or bands or styles or even genres. It's a book about what's going on inside us when we listen. And it doesn't matter what music we're listening to. And he asks two big questions that guide him through it. How do we listen to music, and why do we listen to music? And he explores these by mixing in other factors like our age and bouts of illness, notion of what might be cool, the relationship music has with commerce, tug of war between good and bad taste. All of these things are very interesting angles that he takes. It's a philosophical book without being philosophical. Doesn't have to be intimidating. I don't mean it that way. It's just a very thoughtful book and about music and your relationship with it.
Yeah, it sounds like it might resonate with listeners.
I wondered if it would.
And one more pick queued up for us.
Absolutely, and we're going to go outside again because I needed my turn.
I was going to say, we started outdoors, and it's nice for you to take us back outdoors here, Chris.
Yes, this is a book called The Joy of Winter Hiking, Inspiration and Guidance for Cold Weather Adventures. It's by Derek Dillinger, and I'm a big believer in staying active outdoors. I learned that from my kids, or relearned it when I watched them and remembered how much fun it is when the snow flies. And so Derek Dillinger is a kindred spirit for me. He says we should not be seeking outdoor adventure in spite of snow, but because of it. And it's full of inspiring photographs, because one of the things about winter is it's beautiful. Kathleen was referencing that in her book. And So it's also full of very practical advice, like things like how to dress warmly, which might be the single most important part of going outside and enjoying yourself in the winter. But what other gear might be helpful, how to understand weather risks, even how-tos for cold weather camping. So whether or not you want to spend the night outside is another question. But this is a book that prepares you and inspires you to get outside and have some fun.
And we know that those colder temperatures are coming. It's been we've sort of eased our way
Yeah,
into the months, but there's a little bit of white stuff down on the ground, and that has me thinking, about people spending time outdoors, maybe some people hiking their way down to McNally, or maybe commuting their way as well. I'm curious, as we head into the holiday season, any special plans at McNally?
At this point, we have one more event. We have an event next week with Peter Mansbridge.
Yeah, I was going to say a bit of a big one.
Yes, the tickets are still available if anyone's interested in coming down. Knox United Church is where it's at. But other than that, we are just there to help people tick things off their list, maybe indulge themselves in a treat for themselves. Why not? And so everything's kind of loaded in. Kathleen's got the store looking beautiful with all the displays she does. So, yeah.
Well, really wonderful indeed. And like you say, I mean, it's just one of those places that you can go, you can spend some time, you can find a gift for somebody else, you can find a gift for yourself, and you can also peruse online because free shipping and free delivery are also available, as been made abundantly clear here on the website at McNallyRobinson.com. Chris, Kathleen, thank you so much for coming by the studio this morning. We'll, of course, have your picks up at Classic107.com soon. Wishing you both the best of the season.
And you too, Simon. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Simon.